the original plan for PoE2 beta was to release the campaign only. Then they heard all of the people across the world trash talk Diablo for its lack of endgame. So they were like, you know what? We're not going to do that. So Diablo, good. D4, good. That's it. D4, great. They made PoE say, hey, we need an endgame. So they made sure that they speed ran the endgame, which is why it's very lackluster, which is also one of the reasons why 0.4 is now going to be a fully focused endgame patch. It's because of D4. D4 made PoE good. Here's another take. Many years ago, there was an Exile con. God, I want them to do another Exile con. If you've never been to New Zealand, and if they ever do an Exile con, take your chance. It is freaking amazing. So at Exile con, I was talking to Chris Wilson. We were at Jonathan's house, and Chris Wilson said that he credited a lot of the PoE 1 at this point, of course. Path of Exile 1's success, a lot of that is credited to Diablo 3. And the reason for that is because Diablo is a buy-to-play game. So there were people who never touched an ARPG game, or OGs, right? That they spend money, they buy their way into playing an ARPG game. And the longer they play Diablo, the higher the chances of those people being in a scenario where they're being told by other people, hey, you should try Path of Exile. It's free to play. And if they then find themselves enjoying the ARPG game genre, which they've paid money to play, and they're now being told there's a better one, which is free to play, there's no reason for them not to try Path of Exile. So a lot of the success of Path of Exile has been credited by the main people behind Grinding Gear Games to Diablo. So Diablo does good things. I think that there's going to be quite some drastic nerfs to the high end. I think people are just tired of the lightning meta. And I think as a result of that, they're just going to nerf hard on those things to really shift the meta. And I think people will like that they're doing that.
Like, there's just some of these skills where you play them and they just don't, they don't feel very great, for sure.
True.
So, like, I mean, I would say that there's going to be balance changes. I mean, I definitely think that there's going to be some nerfs, because I doubt they're currently happy with the Roa situation, though. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they love it. Who knows? They've been kind of quiet on that front. I would like...
That's true. I will say this. PoE 2 has the same situation as PoE 1, where any build in the game works, except for Conversion Trap. But any skill works in the game with enough currency. You can take the shittiest shit ever, and if you pour a bucket of currency on top of it, it will work eventually. It will. You guys remember the good old days of Syndicate Operative Spectres? If you ever remember, if you have any recollection of how insane that was, leave a comment down below saying, I remember. I saw a video yesterday. Someone said, Syndicate Operatives are back! 50 million DPS. And I was like, yo, did I miss something? I have to watch this. I watched it. Required items, Mage Blood. And then I shut the video off.
Like to see some buffs as well. I'd say balance changes are just like, they're going to always be some balance changes. We had balance changes 0.3, we had balance changes 0.2, we had balance changes 0. There's always going to be balance changes. It's going to happen again. I think this is like obvious. So like there's going to be some nerfs, some buffs. Hopefully there's, you know, a bigger variety of builds. 0.3 was way better than 0.2. 0.2 basically had no variety of builds. It was lightning spear, nothing.
True. How bad do you guys think that they will nerf the living fuck out of Energy Shield this patch? If you're watching this on YouTube, I know you're already supposed to say I remember, but also add to your comment on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly will they fuck up Energy Shield? Just 1 to 10. I'm in a position where I think it's going to be like a 3, maybe 4, maybe. Yeah, Dragon said 3 to 4. I'm there as well. Now, I would love to say somewhere between 6 and 7. Anyways, but no, I'm going to say 3 and 4. Somewhere around there is what I think is going to happen.
The defensive power, yeah, I agree. Armor definitely feels better. But isn't life offensively kind of ridiculous right now? I mean, he's playing Bloodletting right now, right?
Int stacking, strength stacking, armor stacking. I would love to see all these in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they could add way more build variety also. There's so much that can be added to the game to add more variety, but I think that we should focus a bit more on the core of the game itself to better help these skills. A few of them need reworks, a few of them need better wording, better abilities, better scalers, whatever it may be. I'm
balance.
not
So he
the
wants a
one
lot of
making the
balance
game, and
changes.
hopefully GGG can work this out.
Well, it's
in
going to be an
coming
in-game
future of the
patch,
game.
so.
Next on the list, I would love to see a complete Chayula rework once again. We just got one.
Okay, that caught me off guard. Balance changes he'll for sure get. If he's asking for no nerfs, I think there's no shot he's get. But he will get some balance changes. I mean, they do that in literally every patch, so that's a pretty safe bet. Acolyte of Chalupa nerf, or rework. Man, I don't know. I feel like they keep trying with this class. The Darkness Reservation actually feels kind of good. I did a hardcore Chalupa run this league, and Darkness actually feels kind of good. I don't know if they're going to remove it or not, but
Sorry to cut you off there, DM, but I gotta see the numbers in this. Vice of the Abyssal. Is that a 1? It is a 1%. I mean, it is at least above the non-ascended classes.
they reintroduced the thing where in Sanctum or Trial of Suck My Ass, that when you are taking damage,
DM gotta stop this whole talking shit about the Sekima trial. The Sanctum sucks. That's PoE 1. But the Sekima trial is actually not bad. And that's coming from someone who loathed the Sanctum from PoE 1.
from darkness, it actually doesn't take away from your honor res. I don't know. That was a bug before. I don't know if it's still a bug or they're just like, it's an unintended game mechanic, and now it's just a side bonus if you're actually, for one of the two people on the planet, they're playing Acolyte of Cholula. But that was a nice part of it. My opinion on the Cholula thing is this. Darkness is actually super cool, but you're capped up to a certain point because it gives you darkness based upon your chaos res, and you can only get to so much of a percentage, and then it caps. I think the best way to do this is remove the cap, so you can overcap your chaos res. You can go like 400% chaos res if you really wanted to go all the way, or whatever, right? Whatever you could actually get to. And then you could continue the stack darkness, or like you could stack energy shield. Chaos res itself is like, it's a suffix. There's not too many like things on the tree in order to get it. So in order to actually get a shitload of chaos res, it's high investment, and then there's going to be a limited number you can actually get anyway. So it's not going to be like an energy shield where you can just click a bunch of nodes for free with passive skill, and you're going to end up with like 20,000, 40,000 ES if you're like all the way invested. There is still going to be a pseudo cap on chaos res, but I think just removing the cap off of it does give Cholulu like at least a niche portion in which they are kind of focused on being tanky, which I think would be kind of cool. And it is.
I can't really speak for the Chalupa monk because I haven't played with it much. Like, I mean, I can't speak for this at all, so I'm just listening to what DM has to say.
It's a high cost. Like, you can't have any spirit if you're doing darkness. So, just a thought. I mean, that's one thing that goes to my mind. Also, Void Illusion. I've tried making that work. Maybe somebody out there has done it. It also doesn't work like when you dodge roll, you know, you get like the little taunt there. It's kind of dog shit. And then you can get the cooldown down, but if you're using like Temporalis or something to try to get the cooldown even down, if you want to use like blink, so you can like blink around and then leave it, it doesn't work with blink. You have to actually be dodge rolling. So because of like the time it takes to actually dodge roll, there's like a certain hard limit on how many of these things you can actually spawn. So like the Void Illusion itself as a skill for Acolyte of Cholulu just feels kind of bad. So I agree with him there. Volatility, some people have made work, but it's just kind of clunky and weird. So volatility isn't that great anyway. In other words, there's not really, outside of darkness, there's not really too many reasons I would ever actually pick this class, which is why if you're going to do something to it, make darkness better by removing the cap, or maybe rework some of these other ascendancy nodes. So in other words, I agree with him here. Cholulu is like not positioned well.
But I league started Chayula in hopes to make a caster variant, and I got to see the flaws. I also saw Miso trying to play Chayula Monk as well, and he didn't really like it either.
Yeah.
It is still very, very lackluster as compared to many ascendancies in the game.
Yeah,
even
agreed.
Invoker. It has way too many conditional damage buffs over static damage buffs that other ascendancies can offer, and you can still get an even better outcome. So I definitely think GGG should take a look at that once again. One crazy idea I had was adding graphs to Chayula, since it is lore-wise linked to Chayula himself, and
That's kinda cool.
I thought graphs were very cool in the new season, so that could be a very cool addition since GGG wants certain characters to have their own identity. I personally think that would be very great for the Chayula
Cool idea. Probably a lot of dev work for just one ascendancy point that, you know, class that's like already in the game. They're making other shit. Probably won't happen, but cool idea anyway.
to have their own personal graphs. Just a crazy idea. Not that it would be added at all, but who knows. Another ascendancy I would like to see get a little touching is the Smith of Katava. This is honestly my own personal bias, just because I would love to make use of the fire spell on hit, but in my opinion, I mean, I don't
Smith
know
was
if they
like the
want it
least
to be
played
just
ascendancy,
for
right?
utility, but when you look at Mjolnir and you see that it gives a good multiplicative damage buff and no mana.
What's up with the
use on
fucking
cast.
loading shit?
It's really good. Why isn't fire spell on melee hit exactly like that? I think
Making a
that would be
decent
a
argument.
pretty good addition. And they
That's
should
fair. That's a
definitely
fair
look at that.
take.
And
Yeah,
also,
Smith is kind of like a feels bad one to me, honestly, because it was pretty strong before, and it got the triple tap where like the ascendancy got removed. I think the thing with Smith is with armor doing LE damage and being really good against like small amounts of LE damage, like monsters have extra damage as, etc. I think they were really scared that Smith of Katava was going to be borderline unkillable. They probably would have been right, honestly. Still usable, but it did get
What's
triple
up with
tap
this?
from like the passive tree changing with max res.
I think the old version was
the
pretty
Ascendancy itself
fine.
is somewhat getting nerfed. So
But I mean,
yeah, Smith feels kind of
maybe I'm missing something.
I don't know if I want to say it's like bad. I don't think it's bad. It's just the cool thing that made it unique was like making the chest plate and having the fire res. And when you do reduce that, you kind of reduce like the entire point of the ascendancy. So I like his idea of like making the fire spells like better portion, or maybe like
Daylight
the
was subscribed with Prime and included the
Daylight, thanks so much for sub. I
Druid
appreciate
looks
it.
Good.
It does, yeah. I think like the old version of Smith and Katava felt cooler from my perspective. Like I played with it once as well. I don't know. I think that it was really cool. I didn't like what they changed to it. It just felt, for lack of a better word, it felt like ass, and I don't like it as shit. That's kind of like where I'm at when it comes to Smith and Katava. But would it be too powerful if they reworked, like if they walked back on the changes and brought it back to how it used to be? Would that be enough, or would that be too OP?
manifest weapon or something. No one really does that. The anvil is basically a giant meme. The whole best thing about the anvil actually ever being in the game was we got those really funny Quinn clips and Matho laughing at the Quinn clips of like him sitting there like anviling right in the middle of a boss attack. So that's about
True.
it. That's about the best thing we got out of that portion of the Ascendancy. So I agree.
Also, the manifest weapon, I know that just got a little small buff, but it's still not enough to make me.
Manifest weapon. I just so badly wanted that to be the animate weapon of PoE 2. And then when we saw the skill, my heart just sank. I was like, oh, no. What is this? Very disappointed.
You want to use it. As a person who doesn't already like minions as is, that's another thing that I would also like to see in 0.4.
Doesn't like minions?
Just more minion buffs. I would love to play specters. As someone who has never been into specters, I actually was thinking of playing the animate weapon of reflection build in PoE 1 because it just looks sick. Buff the specters, make everything cool and good. I would love to play these.
Okay, so I was about to say I don't like this guy, but he is redeeming himself with these comments right now. He's okay. This guy seems to be all right after all. We can keep watching the video.
Things. Would love to have just a bunch of floating weapons around me fighting my enemies. Like,
yeah.
Just I don't know how you guys.
As a
plan to do
certified
it,
minion hater,
please, like,
can't
some
agree,
better
but I mean,
specter
yeah, all right.
scaling, minion scaling would be great. I would love to.
This is your standard fucking version of a blight enjoyer talking shit. That's who you are, DM. I don't need to add more to it. That's just it. I don't have to say anything else. That's just it. You see? Mic drop. Right there.
See more variety of in-game minion builds. So the next topic on the list already got confirmed, and it was kind of unfortunate to see that, but I still have high hopes. I actually did not want to see the Druid added in 0.4 because it takes away from more content that's actually.
Huh? What? He did not want to see the Druid. I'm gonna be honest. The wolf form and the bear form, they don't excite me. This does.
Beneficial to the game, you know. A new ascendancy, a new class adds just a good bit of, you know, more variety to customization, build variety, yada yada. But I'd say things
All right, let me hear the rest of his point before I have a
like more new ascendancies, which is another topic. More new ascendancies added to the game to existing classes.
We're
would
assuming
add
that's
way
gonna
more
happen as well.
variety.
That's gonna happen as well. We're
And
expecting
I
that.
think that we're gonna get a new weapon. I would love to see a new weapon. I'm pretty sure.
We're gonna get
Okay, I
talismans.
think it's a little bit of a wild take, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a new ascendancy would not add more variety because with a new class comes a new weapon. With a new weapon comes new skills, and those skills are usable in any class. So just adding like a skill gem into the game that's tied to a new weapon adds build variety on all classes as opposed to ascendancy that only adds a different ascendancy variant of all builds. So
I know he's a Blight enjoyer, but DM is preaching right now, so pay attention.
I would think that like Druid coming to the game actually will help out a lot. The other portion is the first point was he wants a lot of like balance changes and like new build variety. That is what that is. Having a new class is more build variety because we get a weapon with it. So for me, it seems like an obvious win. I think the
so
point
too.
of the game is like to make builds and shit. Now, if the argument was we should be focusing more on making the mapping better and we don't want dev time to go into Druid, I could like hear the take. But if the argument is like Druid doesn't have that much build variety, other ascendancies of
we have
classes
no
are
idea.
in the game that are already in seem like I'm just not there on that one.
Sure, we're getting one. 2 new weapons is a stretch, but that would be the icing on the cake.
I would
if
love
they
more
went and
weapons,
added
sure.
2 new weapons for this season. That would add a very good chunk of build variety to the game, I believe. Now, this is just my speculation, but with the Druid coming, I could heavily believe we're getting something like the Claw or maybe the Flail, but that's a stretch.
So when people make these videos, do they bother doing fact checks and like looking up things? Like, do people actually do that? Or people just make videos just for the sake of making videos? Like, I'm not even talking about data mine information. This shit's available in game right now. I just don't get it. What do you mean, Claw? I mean, I'm all for people having opinions, but if you're going to make statements, at least make sure you check the info, right? You know, look up any info on the Druid. That's fine, but you haven't posted a video where you're stating, oh, we maybe get a Claw or maybe get a Flail, but that's a stretch. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're going to make a video, at least make sure it's an educated video with educated guesses or whatever. Like, if I'm wishing for something, I would look up what's actually going on around me before I start saying, oh, no, I hope the Druid comes next patch. We already know that's going to happen. You know, I'm not going to make a video saying that. If you go to a weapon, you hover over, press, hold down Alt, hover over, click quality, click martial weapons, and you'll see all the weapons in here. In point 3, this was added. Talismans. Talisman says the two-handed melee weapon that requires strength and intelligence to equip. Talisman allows you to use shape-shifting skills. There's more info on shape-shifting here. Although each talisman is associated with a specific shape-shift form, every talisman allows you to use skills from all forms. Like, this is available in the game right now, which means that we're it's extremely likely that with the Druid, we're going to see talismans as a new weapon, right?
Because that would probably come with Templar.
Yeah, it's talismans. We already know it's
definitely
talismans.
think we're gonna
Yeah,
probably
like
get
DM
the
knows
Claw.
as well.
So,
And you know
yeah,
why? Because DM does check these things up. And then he makes an educated a take on it. I don't know.
See,
Maybe I'm overreacting.
I was wondering this myself. GHAZZY showed it to me, though. You can literally see it in game. If you go to martial weapons, you can see it's called Talisman. When you go to, like, hover over whetstone or something, it says improve martial weapons. Hover over martial weapons, it says martial weapons, or, like, it has a list of all the martial weapons. You hover over Talisman, it says shape-shifting. So, like, it's already in the game. It's already data mined. Yeah, Talisman is going to be coming, and Talisman is a two-handed melee strength int based weapon that adds shape-shifting in the game. So, like, we are getting a weapon.
And that would be great. They're probably gonna change it to strength ant.
Another thing to point out is that we can use those on other classes, like DM was talking about this before. So you can shapeshift on non-druid classes. There's your variety as well. Just saying.
Have to see. It's all just a speculation. But
This is
back to the
live,
new
yeah.
ascendancies thing. Yes, getting 3 new ascendancies would be very huge.
Agree
for
about the
game.
ascendancies.
I speculate we're gonna get the new monk ascendancy and maybe even the new ranger ascendancy. So we'll
Yeah,
have.
we need
Fuck the
Sword,
Ranger.
Huntress, Monk, and I'm missing one. Sork, Huntress, Monk, and there's one other one I'm forgetting off the top of my head that still need, or Ranger, right? That still need Ascendancies. So if we got all of the third Ascendancies, that'd be 4 new Ascendancies.
What do you mean? Fuck the Ranger? Oh, Ranger, top of the fucking board. What's the other leagues? Dawn of the Hunt. Oh, Rangers, top of the boards. What else do we have? You don't see the other ones? Lich on top hardcore? Yeah, but you got to keep in mind that the vast majority of the player base is in softcore.
I think that's cope. Maybe we'd be lucky if we get 2, I think. So I think maybe there's a chance we get Druid. Druid probably with 2 Ascendancies with 1 yet to come. And then
that's what I think as well, yeah.
Maybe like a Sork and a Huntress or something like that.
To see, but that would be super great.
Sork definitely needs an
Another thing that I
Ascendancy,
would like
100%.
to see happen, and I probably should have said this in the beginning of the video, is please, no pre-league nerfs. I know that they like to watch a lot of the streamers.
Really does not want nerfs.
I'm sure they do, and nerf things when people start talking about this being broken.
Somebody in chat wrote, I've never made a Ranger, I'm doing my part.
And hot. Let it be broken, let it be good, and if you want to nerf it mid-league, whatever, just let people have fun for the start of the season.
You can have fun in this season without having one build that's 99% better than others. So I understand the argument about like let it be good, like don't just destroy the players. Like I get that, but that's kind of not what's happening. It's like if one build is way better than all the others, it is destroying the players. Like that is actually removing some fun from you because there is one build that is like massively better than others. Like that happens a lot in not just ARPGs, but in MOBAs, etc. It's like we can make the same argument in League of Legends. It's a new season. Let the previous characters be fun. It's like, if you have one that's kind of OP, it kind of like, kills the vibe for other characters, and you feel dumb for like not playing the OP one. So I don't know that I necessarily agree with this. I think that we've seen previously players state like they're okay with mid-league changes, but GGG has stated they won't do mid-league changes because they basically don't want to kill the fun for the players once the league starts. But in between leagues, they're going to do balance changes. If we don't do any like balance changes between leagues, then when the game comes out, it's going to be an unbalanced clusterfuck in which you have a million broken builds and the game is like cheesy easy. Imagine like if we didn't nerf any of the shit that has already been in the game. That was kind of OP. I don't know if everyone still would want lightning
spark builds and lightning spare.
Everyone would want to be playing from 0.1 to 0.4 a Gemline stat stacker. I think you do kind of have to adjust these things as you go. I'm okay with the concept of like keeping builds good. You don't have to like triple tap them into the ground entirely, which is something GGG has done with builds. Like I understand that. I would agree with that point. But at some level, like you probably do have to look into and be okay with understanding that not all builds can last at their power level forever in the game, because then, in other words, you're just asking for like infinite power creep. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing for the game.
I agree with this take. That's a good take.
This next one's probably a no-brainer, but we will probably not see a new act in the coming season.
I don't think
that's
so
fine
either.
with me. The interludes are just fine. We get a good chunk of story, and we can probably get a new act in season 5. So
I want them to remove rarity affecting currency. That's what I want. Me and DM on our Tavern Talk podcast, we talked to Mark and Jonathan about it. I refer to rarity as a pseudo quantity modifier for currency, because some levels of currency you don't care about looting. But if it upgrades to a currency you would loot, that would now increase the quantity of currency you get, right? Indirectly. Not exactly, but that's the result. The end result is a higher quantity of currency you actually loot, right? They removed item quantity from Path of Exile 1, which made the game significantly better. And then they just re-added it in this way for PoE 2, which to me didn't make any sense. Like put it this way. It's been determined that 100-150% rarity is kind of like the breakpoint that you want. The problem is, not every build can achieve that number without severely hurting the performance of the build. And that's where the problem comes in. That's why the meta or the FOMO is so tight. And in ARPGs, no matter what you play individually, the vast majority of the player base do play the FOMO. They do play whatever is the highest performing builds. You have the outliers. Absolutely. But the majority does that. And that's kind of rough. And I think that if they remove that, there would be a wider range of options of high performing builds.
Between leagues, like they don't do leagues in the middle. They don't do nerfs in the middle of leagues. Once the league is already out and you have your hands on it, it's staying. Like they don't nerf shit once the league is launched. But up until the league being launched, in between leagues, like yeah, they're absolutely going to make balance changes. That's like what the patch notes are, and they'll adjust it from there.
So something cool that I do want to see in this game in the future, I wouldn't say next season, but definitely in the future of the game, preferably next season, is Foulborn Uniques. I think that was a crazy addition to PoE 1. Would probably be such a very good addition to PoE 2, because a lot of uniques in this game are pretty much useless and they kind of fall off. And just with this game not having a lot of uniques to begin with, the level of...
I think they just need to add more uniques to begin with before they start adding Foulborn. But what should be the way to farm currency then? By doing harder content. You should be rewarded for doing harder content. More juice means more loot. Not because I have 150 rarity in my character. That's my personal take on it.
Customization is very minimal, and you start using the same uniques as other people use, and they're different skill builds. So Foulborn uniques would be such a good addition. Like imagine a painter servant Foulborn version, like in-game viable. I definitely think GGG should look into that one. Another thing that I would like to see with the new in-game reworks is...
I do want new uniques. I just don't care about them being Foulborn. I just want new uniques in the game.
I'm in the same boat.
Good uniques and uniques to drop from bosses that I care about. I don't care if they're purple. I just want new uniques to chase and uniques that are good.
Agreed.
That's it.
A complete Atlas.
Don't care
rework.
what you call them.
After going back to PoE 1 and seeing the Atlas, seeing how a lot of the new PoE 2 players feel about the old PoE 1 Atlas, I think we do need an Atlas rework. That would help in a lot of the juicing for the in-game mechanics, because I don't think you guys are gonna add a new mechanic for the next season that juices your maps up, since we just got Abyss. So
I mean, I think they would add an in-map mechanic. I think if they don't add in-map mechanics that have juicing and ability to farm for good loot, then what are we doing? Like, isn't that the point of... Is that not the point of, like, mapping?
I have another take to that as well. PoE 2 is somewhat bare bone, and they need to do what they've done with PoE 1 over the decade, right? Or past decade, where they add things that are going core. They just need to add more mechanics and stuff to the game that is supposed to be part of the core game of PoE 2. And I think that's what they're doing. They have been doing it, and they'll keep doing it. I think that's the answer.
I would think that they're absolutely going to be adding more and more mechanics to the game.
Not powers.
Farmable. If
Diablo got that.
Then we only have like Breach, Expedition, Delirium, and Abyss. I mean, I guess Ritual. I probably do need in-map mechanics, I would think. There's just not that many of them in PoE 2. As in terms of like an Atlas rework, I think an Atlas tree rework I could agree with. I think they're still exploring the Infinite Atlas idea. I don't think they're ready to pack it up on the Infinite Atlas. I think there are some benefits from an Infinite Atlas. I don't think it's in the perfect scenario. I understand. I agree. And I think they're working on making it better. I think
the Atlas will need more attention.
With some of the additions of like unique maps you can find and making it a little bit more interesting, and towers not being basically in there as much. And I definitely think we need a search function and some quality of life to make it easier to navigate and to zoom out and things like that. I would agree with all of those points. I don't know if they're going to pack it up immediately and just move it to like PoE 1, put in a map and go. I think they're still trying to like salvage the Infinite Atlas. I could be wrong, but that would be my guess.
Reworking the Atlas seems to be like the smartest play here. I'm just giving more juice via the Atlas. Next, and I'm pretty sure we will be getting this.
I think he means Atlas tree. I think he means Atlas tree because he's talking about more juice from the Atlas tree. Like, and if he's talking about the Atlas tree, I mean, yeah, I do agree the Atlas tree is like very placeholder. I would assume they would all agree that the Atlas tree is very placeholder. It does feel lackluster. You don't really feel the impact when you click the nodes, and you specialize in everything instead of like one thing at a time, so you don't really feel like you are specialized and juicy in something. I would agree with these points.
In-game bosses, that would be super great. Some new in-game pinnacles to fight. I'm done fighting the main 4, and I'm ready for some new.
Agree with that too. We'll get new
in
bosses.
Kulimak, I would like to see a higher pinnacle version of him, more difficult, if he does stay in the game, which I'm pretty sure he
The man himself, he says definitely should have said tree. Okay, you're talking about Atlas tree. I would agree with the Atlas tree. I do think the Atlas tree is basically placeholder. I think that the Atlas tree. I've said it before. So too. I think the Atlas tree is one of the weakest parts of the game. I'd agree.
Well, I'm pretty.
Chat said Infinite Atlas is a good idea on paper, but it feels bad when you play with it. I think the Infinite Atlas was such a cool experience the first time we saw it. Then we saw the issues with it. I still think the Infinite Atlas is more interesting and fun to engage with than the Atlas system they have in PoE 1. But the Atlas tree is making its ass. I think that if they fine-tune the Atlas tree, it will make the mapping experience more fun. And I like the idea of the Infinite Atlas. You see, a lot of people in PoE 1, they tend to play one map all over, all the time. Including myself. Now, I prefer to not be in a situation where I'm running the same map over and over and over again. I want to change, the scenery. The Infinite Atlas in PoE 2 is essentially enforcing that, and I kind of dig that. I like that.
Sure, all the Abyss stuff will be kept and just dumbed down a bit, so it'll be different ways for us to access it via just the Atlas. But definitely want to see some new bosses to fight. But for the last thing on this list, I would love to see, and obviously we're going to be getting this, right? A new mechanic.
Yeah, new mechanic.
Not just any mechanic, though. Something beneficial to the game. Obviously, we're not going to be getting a crafting mechanic. And a lot of people are speculating Dell will be coming to the game.
They could do a crafting mechanic, actually.
Who knows? Maybe they can make something new.
I think it will
Maybe
be crafting.
They could rework something
Or they
old.
do.
Definitely just want to see something good for the game itself.
Yeah, good for the game's a pretty wide net they're throwing. It can mean almost anything. I don't think that having another crafting mechanic would be a problem, especially if they add more affixes, etc., dilute the pool. I mean, Abyss added more affixes to weapons, and it made crafting a lot easier. But I think some of that was like the non-Abyss related stuff from the lead mechanic. That was sort of a crafting rework in and of itself. It wasn't just the Abyss crafting. So like a lot of the times when I hear about like we need to nerf the Abyss, then people also talk about like non-Abyss related crafting like essences and omens. And so the Abyss itself crafting was pretty good and will not be in every map anymore. So in terms of like quantity of how much you're going to be able to access the Abyss, it's now a league in which you can choose to farm that if you want, and then use those crafting materials, and adding another one in tandem, which is okay. Like here's, I don't know, harvest or whatever. I think harvest would probably be bad, but like if you added some other mechanic that you can farm and do your own kind of crafting, I mean, that is PoE.
You know what I really want to PoE 2? I want them to have a way for us to flip resistances, right? How many times have they not said that they want us to value loot on the ground? How many times have you not encountered yourself where you find an upgrade, let's say a ring. You find a ring that's an upgrade for you. You can't fucking equip it because you needed lightning res on that ring. But the ring had fire res. And you know what? You still want to equip it. But for you to equip an item you find on the ground, you also have to then change 2, 3, 4, 5 other items on your gear to fit that new upgrade. But if you could have flipped that resistance to another res, you would be able to equip it straight off the bat. I think that would be such a nice solution to increase the interest in ground loot and also help gearing in general for the vast majority of players. I really want that. And, you know, maybe people don't agree with that. Maybe it's too powerful. I don't know. I just think it would be a great solution for all types of players across the board in PoE.
So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with adding more crafting into the game, as long as it's not, you know, completely ridiculously OP. I think there is an argument to be made that Omen of homogenizing and the essences might have some adjustments, and maybe Omen of Light. Outside of that, I don't really have a problem with the current state of crafting. I mean, it's pretty deterministic, as people say, which is fairly true, but it definitely is better than it was before, which is basically
Yeah.
slam exalts and you pray to God. So,
So I know I have my take on the homogenizing exaltation omen has always been that they are too strong. That's been my take, and a lot of people disagree. And the reason they disagree is because what we have now is better than before, which it is. What we have now is a million times better than what we had before. It doesn't mean that what we have now is a little too much. I want something between what we had before and what we have now. I think it's the homogenizing exaltation is just way too strong in my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with my take on this, but that's my personal opinion, and that's the beauty of it, right? I'm entitled to my opinion, and that's my take. But I also think that for them to achieve having something between what we had and what we have is to add more mechanics whilst they reduce the efficiency of the homogenizing exaltation. That is my personal opinion on crafting right now.
some of that is probably you need more affixes on either gear or more types of items that you actually want to be able to craft. Some of it is maybe some of these things are actually just a little bit too OP, like homogenizing. I'm always fucking that one up. Some of it is like some things are underwhelming, like Recombinator, for instance, just feels like pretty underwhelming, and that whole mechanic doesn't really feel like it does anything. So I think it's a little bit of everything. It's not perfect yet, but I think it's definitely getting better is kind of where I'm at with crafting.
That'll be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this quick little discussion, please leave a like and subscribe. Heavily appreciate it. And there will be a bunch more build videos to come in the future.
He's got a pretty cool build.
Cooking once we see some patch notes, and I'll be dropping maybe at least 1 or 2 league starts. So stay tuned, and I will see you guys in the next one.
All right, he wanted me to watch it. There you go. That's what he wants to see in PoE 2. I agree with about half of it. I think that having extra variety in PoE 2 in terms of builds is good. I don't think there's any problem with dropping the Druid.
Let me link the original video as well to you guys. Here it is. I'll make sure both links are in the description of YouTube as well. Big shout out to DM and Kadachi.
I think that there is a chance we do get additional crafting. I do agree with his point about the Atlas tree being lackluster. I think it's a placeholder. I think they only had like 6 months or something when they ended up developing the Endgame on release back in the early.
You know, that's actually a fun take. You know why they did that? The original plan for PoE 2 beta was to release the campaign only. Then they heard all of the people across the world trash talk Diablo for its lack of endgame. So they were like, you know what? We're not going to do that. So Diablo, good. D4, good. That's it. D4, great. They made PoE say, hey, we need an endgame. So they made sure that they speed ran the endgame, which is why it's very lackluster, which is also one of the reasons why 0.4 is now going to be a fully focused endgame patch. It's because of D4. D4 made PoE good. Here's another take. Many years ago, there was an Exile con. God, I want them to do another Exile con. If you've never been to New Zealand, and if they ever do an Exile con, take your chance. It is freaking amazing. So at Exile con, I was talking to Chris Wilson. We were at Jonathan's house, and Chris Wilson said that he credited a lot of the PoE 1 at this point, of course. Path of Exile 1's success, a lot of that is credited to Diablo 3. And the reason for that is because Diablo is a buy-to-play game. So there were people who never touched an ARPG game, or OGs, right? That they spend money, they buy their way into playing an ARPG game. And the longer they play Diablo, the higher the chances of those people being in a scenario where they're being told by other people, hey, you should try Path of Exile. It's free to play. And if they then find themselves enjoying the ARPG game genre, which they've paid money to play, and they're now being told there's a better one, which is free to play, there's no reason for them not to try Path of Exile. So a lot of the success of Path of Exile has been credited by the main people behind Grinding Gear Games to Diablo. So Diablo does good things.
Access drop, and since then they've been trying to add on to it. I think that's quite literally the focus, and what they said was 0.4 was supposed to be, so we'll see how much they're able to get in of that change. So I agree with some of it. Some points I don't think are things I agree with. I think we do need balance changes in both areas. I would like to see things brought up, but if you bring some things up, I think you also should bring some things down that are a little bit too strong. So I don't know if I agree that we should just have no nerfs. I think we should probably see some adjustments across the board, basically. That's how I feel about that one. Anyway, good video.
I want to show you guys another thing when it comes to balance. It seems like a lot of people are in the situation like, oh no, a perfect balance game is when everything is functional, everything is good. You just play what you like, and that's the perfect balanced game. I disagree with that take wholeheartedly. I think that a perfectly balanced game is a game that has a large set of things that are good, some things that are extremely good, and some things that are just bad. And speaking of grinding gear games, one of the founders, Brian Weissman, not that one, this one, he had a short video we can watch real quick before we wrap this up, where he talks about this, and I agree with this take here.
I'm Brian Weissman, and I make games for a living. You might have heard of this one, Path of Exile, which is a game that I began working on way back in 2006 with a couple of friends in New Zealand, and I've heard it's turned into a pretty big deal.
Oh, what's that?
I've been thinking about the idea of game balance as a game designer. I think that a lot of people who play games are always talking about game balance. But fundamentally as a designer, one of the things that I realize is that in order to really make a game good, to make a game have widespread appeal, the game needs to fundamentally be imbalanced. It's actually a requirement because not everybody is a min-maxer. In the context of Magic the Gathering, not everybody is a spike. Not everybody wants to play the most degenerate, most effective strategy to win. And in fact, a lot of people find satisfaction. They're referred to in Magic parlance usually as a Johnny type player or even as a Timmy. A lot of players like a challenge. They like handicaps, they like fetters. They don't want to play flavor of the month. That's not possible if your game is perfectly balanced. You need to allow players to find both weakness cases, imbalanced, undertuned stuff, as well as overpowered stuff too, because the spikes also need to find abuse cases to hunt for. So when a game is actually balanced, it means that it actually has a good balance of both abusive and weak strategy. I'm Brian Weissman, and
I think Brian puts this very well, and I agree with this take entirely, but not everyone does. Either way, we're gonna wrap this up. Good video from DM, reacted to Kadachi, and shout out to both of them. Appreciate you guys. If you like this type of video, just hit the like button, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, stay safe, keep rocking.